What is going on, everybody? I am the original gamer, StevieStrow, and we are back for yet another exciting video game showcase for the Radio Shack TRS-80 color computer, also known as the CoCo. So grab your joysticks and let's get gaming, people. What's going on, everybody? What are we looking at here today? Well, what we are looking at here today is Speed Racer by Stephen Hirsch. Released by Mitchtron, formerly Computer Shack, in 1984. This was a racing game clone similar to Pole Position in the arcade. It required 32K of RAM, and it's a cool game. There are 4 different tracks. So this is track 1. You can use your joystick left and right here. So this is track 1, which is kind of a simple oval. Track 2 has got a little bit of a bell in the middle of it. Track 3 is a lot more twisty, and then track 4 is like all over the place. And each track has its own set of high scores. So let's see. I don't remember if I have to push forward. I think I just have to push forward on the stick. Okay. And so the red and white stripes on the side of the road definitely remind me of Pole Position. And I just had a collision here. Avoid collisions. And so, yeah, I like the fact that the scenery changes. So right now we've got like a city in the background. We've got like an expansion bridge over there. And you just have to race against cars, right? And basically, it's not even a question of like what place are you in. It's really just a question of can you complete the race without running out of time. Because I think there is a time limit before you reach a checkpoint. And it's really a lot of bobbing and weaving here, a lot of steering. And the fact that I'm playing this on a real color computer with a real analog controller definitely makes this game playable. I've tried playing this on the PC emulator, and the controls are a little bit hairy. You've got to have some nice precision to aiming this. I also like how you can kind of see the front axle of your wheels, and you can see them turn. That was my steering wheel that flew up in the air. Your tires, your steering wheel, you get all kinds of stuff. And so what that does is that, I guess that little black arrow is showing me where I need to be to my finish line. Okay, so I just passed through 2 poles there. I don't know if that was like a checkpoint. Okay, show me how many cars I've passed. Oh, I guess you have to pass a certain number of cars. I guess that number of cars has to reach the triangle. Okay. And I'm assuming there is a certain number of laps you need to do to complete the race. I know some racing games you have to reach a checkpoint before you run out of time. I don't really see a timer here, so I guess I'm not really sure what you're up against. What is the enemy here? Is time the enemy? Is crashing too many times the enemy? Is not passing cars the enemy? Not quite sure there, but we are just going to drive. And I am passing all. You're number 1. Look at that. It says you're number 1. I like that. So I'm in first place to this. Okay, and then now that must be a lap. Okay, so those two kind of pillars I just drove through, that must be the lap indicator that you've completed one complete circuit around there. And so I guess what you have to do is you have to pass the minimum number of cars, which is where the little triangle pointy thing is here. You got to pass at least that many cars, and then hopefully pass even more. And then what you don't want to do is you don't want to bump into anything like I just did there, because then that just puts you way behind. So yeah, cool little game. So this is track 1. We'll go ahead and try this track out, and we'll try a couple different tracks and check out the scenery. And so I tried playing this game over the weekend during my live marathon, and I was playing it on the emulator, and it kept freezing on me too. So that was another issue, was that I couldn't even finish this, that the game just locked up. So I'm playing this on a real color computer. This is a stock 64K color computer too, and I am using a nice analog capture device that's allowing me to capture this through the RF connector. I do find that the picture is not as clean and clear as I'd like it to be, but other than the kind of vertical striping that I'm not crazy about, the game plays, and it's not terribly distracting. I've tried a lot of different ways to record and capture the color computers live, and so far, for better or for worse, this has been my best option And so I am playing the real thing, and it looks good enough to me. It's not clean at all. I don't like these vertical stripes in here, but we're dealing with it. We're living with it. And the odd thing is that the black and white look fine. So it's just something to do with the colors themselves. And even when you're in the text screen, the green text screen has got those vertical bands in them. And it's a little distracting, but it functions. And so it's not as pretty and as pristine as some of the videos I've made where I've recorded using an emulator, but this is real. This is the real deal. This is the real color computer, and I'm playing the game. I don't know how many stinking laps, how many stinking miles I gotta do on this thing here. So, alright. It seems to be a fairly repetitive pattern of where these cars are too. I don't see a lot of diversity, and I don't see a lot of lane changing here. So really the trick just becomes when you find yourself in these positions here, that you've got to kind of bob and weave between different lanes when you got multiple lanes of cars. And right now I'm doing okay. So I don't know how many miles this was. I don't remember. I think when you actually scroll through the different tracks, it would tell you how many miles you have to do. I'm coming up on 10 miles. Okay. I was just getting ready to say I didn't think he was going to be the one. I was looking further down the road and anticipating a challenge. That probably would have gotten me anyways, and then that dude got me. But not a bad driver. Not a bad driver. You know, over the weekend I've been playing a lot of different driving games. Okay, that was the finish line. 9.96 miles. The game is over.
Let the Radio Shack TRS-80 put the world of color computing into your home. Instant loading program packs turn any color TV into an exciting game arcade. And there's more. The color computer is an educational aid, a home management tool, an up-to-the-minute electronic information service. The programmable, expandable TRS-80 color computer from $399 only at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
So what am I going to see right now? I'm going to see, okay, my score. So I'm supposing that the score is based on how many cars I passed. And so in track 2, it doesn't necessarily tell you how many miles you need to go to. Let's jump down to track 4 with all the twists and turns. Okay, this is cool. This is a cool city. Very cool city. And so yeah, the challenge here becomes kind of ducking in between two cars. And because the computer's colors are looking a little tiny bit off to me, I'm seeing like some gray colors in these tires that I'm not sure are really supposed to be there, but I like seeing them right now. I'm going to call that a bonus artifact, just based on how my capture device is getting things through RF. Steering wheel went up in the air. Yeah, the tires kind of look gray, and I know the color computer never had anything that really resembled gray. And that's what my tires look like to me, and I'll take it. Okay, yeah, I'm trying to figure out what do I got to do to slow down. I guess I got to pull down on the stick to do that. In miles per hour, the car looks kind of like a formula car. Formula racers were usually able to go to about 200 miles per hour. So, dude, these turns. And I'm using a Tandy Deluxe joystick. I used to complain that I wasn't able to do things because I'm using a PC joystick. I'm using the real thing. This is tricky. This has got some hairpin turns to it. When you're dodging these dudes. Okay, dodge the dudes. Dodge back over. Alright, dodge. Okay, so I guess... Alright, so there's your enemy right there. If you don't pass enough cars before you reach the lap, then you lose the race. So, hey guys, it's the original gamer StevieStrow here, and I want to talk to you about the CoCo Crew podcast, hosted by John Linville and Neil Blanchard. It is a delicious journey into retro computing featuring the Tandy color computer. So if you are into vintage computing, retro computing, old school gaming, and especially if you're a CoCo nut who's into the color computer, you gotta check out the CoCo Crew podcast at cococrew.org, also available on iTunes and Stitcher. And tell them the original gamer StevieStrow sent you. So there's a clicking sound while you're driving. All right, so track 4 is just kicking my butt. Let's take a look at track 2. Oh, farmland, cool. Little checkered flag, dude. Yeah, so you have kind of a minimal sound effect. You've got kind of this clicking sound while you're driving, and that is as close as we're going to get to an engine sound here. And it's not bad. It serves its purpose. It's just a nice little clicky, clicky, clicky. And you can hear the pitch change a little bit as you're increasing your speed of the clicking sounds to give you the impression of that your engine revving or running at a higher speed. Wow, that's tough. I like the farm scenery. I like those hay bales. Wow, man, how did I figure out that spot? How did I figure out how to stay in the middle there? That was really good. Wow. Okay, you're number 1. So I filled up the pass bar. So far so good. Wow. There's a lot to duck here. A lot of bobbing and weaving going on. Wow. 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 That's tough. And so now the pass meter gets reset. As soon as you complete a lap and you go through those 2 little columns, the pass car meter resets and you got to do it all over again. So you have to basically stay ahead of the pack, or a good portion of the pack. And they seem to be fairly easy to catch up to again after a collision, so you don't have to go too far to get back to them. Now, of course, I stand corrected. All right, wow, this is tricky. So this is where the jerkiness of this gets a little bit frustrating when you're like, man, I'm just trying to jerk over and it's just, the screen's not as smooth as I want it to be, but we're making it happen. Part of having to figure out how to play these games was just figuring out how to work within the game's mechanics, you know. It's not only the logic of the game, but it's almost more of the overall performance of how the software reacted to the computer. And so you kind of instinctively and intuitively just figured out what you had to do. And that was just some of the subtle nuances that certain games required, was you kind of second guessing or just learning the internal rhythms and kind of nuances to how the game actually worked and what it expected and what you had to do despite what it actually looked like. You know, there was just some of this, and it was almost, it got to be where it was happening on an unconscious level, where just even as a kid, you know, 14 years old, I'm playing these games, and after a while you're just like, okay, well, I'm just going to not think about what would happen on a real game. I'm going to just start thinking about how games on this computer work and how this game actually expects things to happen, or how when I click, how long it actually takes to register. And those things you just kind of figured out on almost on a subconscious level at some point in time. And then you were able to play the game, but anybody else walked up to it and just was expecting it to play like any other normal console or computer game. Like, what the heck's going on here? So it was this weird thing. Like, even now, like, I tried playing a few games with my daughter tonight, and she plays a lot of games. She plays games on consoles. She plays games on smart devices. She's got a gaming PC, so she plays a variety of games. She plays web-based games. She is no stranger to games, and she plays games that require keyboard and mouse that are fairly sophisticated. She is not she's not your typical kid. She's not a casual gamer. She's pretty hardcore, actually. But then, even with all her experience and variety of things she plays on, she's just trying to use the color computer controller, and it's like, she's like, man, this is hard. And, you know, and I guess to an outsider it is, because you're just not used to some of those things. Even the controller was just, it took a while to get used to the controller. And I've mentioned in many of my videos that this controller I've grown to appreciate over time. I hated it at the time, but I've definitely grown to appreciate it. And especially since I've been playing a lot of these games on computer emulators. The computer emulator plays the games nearly perfectly, and the picture looks flawless, but I have to use a PC controller, and the PC controllers for color computer games become counterproductive. And so that's why I've been on this elusive chase to find a way to record live from a real color computer so I could use the real controllers. Which I've achieved it, I guess, at this point. I just wish the picture was a little bit cleaner. But I guess there is some type of nostalgic flair to the imperfection of it too, I suppose. Alright, can I finish this track? If I finish this track, I'm going to go ahead and end the video. This is track 2 or track 3, I don't remember, but this is obviously the farm one. I didn't quite make it. I only had to pass one more car. But that was it. That was Speed Racer. And so what tracks did I finish? I finished track 1. I actually went all 10 miles. Track 2, it says I went 10 miles, but I don't know if I finished. And then this is one I tried a few times too, and I just don't remember. So I think track 2 is the one I just did here. Yeah, I think that was the farm track. I don't think I've actually tried track 3. Let's take a look at track 3 just to see what it looks like. Okay, so track 3 is another city. Another city. Now can I stop? Can I stop? If I pull all the way down on the stick, can I stop? I'm trying to see if you can stop. It doesn't look like the buttons do anything. And it doesn't look like you can completely stop. I've got the stick pulled all the way down. I'm still doing 40 miles an hour. So this car has got, I guess, a very high idle. But it's a heck of a lot easier to steer at 40 miles per hour. Alright, so what you've just witnessed has been Speed Racer for the color computer. Very cool driving game, 4 different tracks with different sceneries, different difficulty levels, and the object of the game is to make it to the finish line by passing a certain number of cars before you get there, or you lose the race. And you have to do that enough times to equal at least 10 miles, and then you win the race. And then it keeps your high scores, and it keeps a total of 10 top scores for each of the 4 tracks. So, pretty cool game. And it's all squeezed into 32K of RAM. Not bad, I must say. So I hope you enjoyed this preview. I have been the original gamer, StevieStrow. I will see you next time.
At Gsoft, we make games for the TRS-80 color computer, TRS-80 MC10, and Dragon computers. Our basic games cover the range of genres from arcade, to text adventures, to simulations, to 3D dungeon crawls. This is our latest puzzle game from Japan, Fruit Panic. So come on and drop by our website and download our latest games.
I hope you had as much fun watching this video as I had making it for you. And if you did, then do me a favor and smash that like button and subscribe to this channel. If you've got something you'd like to say, throw out a comment and let me hear it. I'd really appreciate it if you could share this video and my channel with your friends. So thank you so much for watching. I'll see y'all next time. Peace out, bye-bye, and long live the CoCo.